cats, what's happening? As you can see, I got my old vintage 1973 Yamaha 175 running like a top. Now, I will say this, that I put a lot of work into it. I replaced a lot of parts, but I did not do what they would call a full restoration. You know, in a full restoration, everything would be put pretty much back to original condition, and it would look like a brand new bike again. Not the case here. I cleaned everything up and got it back together, and like I said, replaced a bunch of parts on it, but I got it running again. I bought this thing in 1973, 1972, 1973. It was brand new. It was on the showroom floor. The model was a CT3. And if you look at this picture closely, the front fender sat real close to the tire. At some point or another, I replaced it with a regular motocross fender because the fender that was down on the tire was getting clogged up with mud, and this worked much better for me as a young man when I was riding it. So that was done. There wasn't really any other modifications. Now, there used to be turn signals on here, and the turn signals stuck out about so far, and they were made to break away in case you flopped it. I couldn't salvage the turn signals that were on here because the insides of them were just completely rotted out, rusted out, gone. And I could probably find some on eBay if I look. But I think maybe what I'll do is find some nice little LED lights to put on there just to get it street legal again. If you know the sound of the thing, it's a little louder than it was originally. I think a lot of the baffles inside the exhaust are probably blown out over the years. It does have a spark arrestor on the muffler though. I replaced the carburetor with a brand new carb, an air filter. I had to do a lot of work on the case itself, on the shifter linkage. That needed repair, so that was done. I also repaired the auto lube system. It does have auto lube. This is the oil tank here. You lift up the seat. Here's where you fill the oil. The battery. The seat, of course, isn't original. At one point or another, I think my mother sewed a new seat cushion on there. Very nice, though. It's practical. It's very comfortable. Probably about 25, 30 years ago, it was wrecked. It was in a bad crash, and this whole side of the fuel tank was caved in. So I was able to pull that back out. There's still a pretty deeper dent right there that, as you can see, some of the paint's chipped, that I wasn't able to get out without doing further damage. In order to restore it, you know, I'd have to completely strip that tank down, do the body work on it, and then repaint it. And heavens knows if I could still find these original decals. So I left the tank original, and the oil tank is it's all original paint on there. The headlight, well, I had it all put back together, but somehow the headlight shattered on me, so I got to get a new headlight. You see that's loose. I'm going to have to search the internet for a headlamp for that. See if I can find. I don't know why it must have been cracked, but when I started it up originally, it broke. The tack isn't working right, so I may have to take that apart and see if I can do something to get it working again. I'm not sure what's wrong with that. When I take it out and ride it, though, it goes. I still have to do some adjustment with the clutch, though. if I twist the throttle all the way and I'm on a hard surface, the clutch slips somewhat. It doesn't have full torque like it should. So I'm going to have to get back in the case and twist that that clutch adjustment out a little bit more. See if I can get it to grab a little tighter, and then I'll have to adjust the lever up here as well to get that clutch just right where it's going to go. But it's going to really, I want it to really, you know, grab. Now, probably what I should have done when I did all the work on it and I had the whole case apart, I should have put new clutch plates in there. I can still do that, of course. It's just a little more effort, but, you know, if it's got to be done, you know, at some point or another, I'll probably do it. It still has the original tires on the bike. There's no dry rot on them or anything. I put brand new tubes in them. The rims were solid rust. So as you see, I cleaned those up, but I couldn't get the rust off of the spokes. The spokes are too far shot. And I wasn't going to re-spoke them because that's a whole nother can of worms. But after cleaning up the rims, they don't look too bad. You don't really notice that the spokes are that. And I took steel wool to the spokes, but they're not chroming up like you would hope they would. Now, when I first bought this bike, brand new, I was a teenager. You know, I was probably 17, 18 years old. It was street legal. The headlight worked, the turn signals work. I had a plate for it. In fact, I got the original plate right here. Not this plastic thing, but that's the original plate for it. I would take this thing out and ride it every day. Now, where we lived in rural Hinckley, Ohio, right across the street from our house was a great big field, a brush field. And we had trails going all through the field. We had jumps, we had mud holes, and it was really good riding. I'd ride over there every day with this thing. I'd have it covered with mud. I'd be covered with mud, but that was the biggest enjoyment of my life at that time. I remember sitting in school, and I couldn't even concentrate on my schoolwork because all I wanted to do was go home and ride this bike and take it out and just ride it. We had a couple dirt jumps out in the field, and the other guys would bring their bikes, and we would do jumps off of the dirt jump, and we would measure our distance. We would put a stick, and then we'd run a tape measure and see how far we actually jumped. I jumped this bike, my biggest jump was a distance of 30 feet. I don't know how high in the air I was, but I actually went 30 feet before I landed it. I know motocrossers do way bigger jumps than that, but as a kid, you know, that was pretty good for me. And this bike isn't really a motocross bike either. It doesn't have the same suspension as a motocross bike. So a 30-foot jump with this bike is pretty commendable, I would say. I could also wheelie this bike when I was younger. I could stand it up on the road and shift through the first two gears before I bring the front wheel back down again, and was pretty good at doing wheelies. But I'm not going to try that in my older age now. For me to crash on this thing or you know, wipe out somewhere, it would hurt, and I'm slower to heal. Not to mention, after I put all the work into it, I really don't want to screw the bike up. It's a classic. I'd like to keep it running now. I'd like to keep it in good shape. I don't want anybody hot dogging with it or, you know, trying to do stunts with it or anything like that. It's just fun to have, and it's a classic. I've already had somebody offer to buy it, and it's not for sale, you know. No, I can't sell anything of my motorcycles because I'm so attached to them. I mean, this thing, as a kid, this was my main pride and joy. This is what I rode every day. That bike over there has given me so many memories down the road. I'm pretty partial to it too. I don't know that I could let it go. The mini bike, that's a different story. The kids like to ride that when they come over and they zoom up and down the driveway. But, so I'll hang on to that just for that purpose. Well, there you go. I'm pretty happy. I'm pleased with the way it runs. It starts right up. Everything's functional on it. The brakes work. The shifting works. Like I said, the only thing I'd like to tune up a little bit more is see if I can get that clutch to tighten up a little bit more and see how that works. Well, cats, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed all the work I put into this thing and watching me as I kind of rebuilt it and shared some of the enjoyment in the fact that it now runs and it's rideable. So, hey, and you know what? If you stop over sometime, I'll let you take it for a ride up and down the driveway, just for old time's sake. Well, thanks for watching. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my videos. And until next time, cats, ride hard and die free.